Hi everybody, it's a beautiful autumn morning here in London and I'm going to talk to you today about a story that's in the news at the moment. It's about the fact that we're probably going to have a shortage of some products in the UK this Christmas, and these include turkey, which is a bird that we eat on Christmas Day often, and sausages and also beer. Why are we going to have a shortage of these? And I'm going to explain this in economics terms using the theory that you've been learning on the course so far. So because of the shortage, this is going to see an increase in the price. This is the most likely thing to happen. There are two main reasons that this is happening. One is to do with carbon dioxide, and the other one is to do with labour in the food industry. So if we start off, first of all, the carbon dioxide. So the carbon dioxide, it's not so nice, but this is used to stun animals before they're slaughtered, so before they're killed. So they use this carbon dioxide to stun the animals, and then it means that it's less unpleasant for them when they're killed to then become our turkeys for Christmas, or to be made from pig into pork into sausages for our Christmas as well. The other reason that CO2 is used in the food industry is inside food packets, and they put the carbon dioxide inside the packet, and it means that the food stays fresh for longer. The third thing that CO2 is used for is for bubbles in drinks, including inside beer. So any carbonated drinks, it's CO2 that they're putting inside the drink to make it fizzy. And we've got a shortage of CO2. So the supply of CO2 is lower than it would be normally. And the reason for this is because a lot of the CO2 we have comes from when they make fertilizer. So fertilizer is put on crops to make them grow. And when they make fertilizer, a byproduct of making fertilizer is that it makes carbon dioxide. And fertilizer production has gone down in the world. And the reason that the fertilizer production has gone down in the world is because there is a natural gas shortage. And they use natural gas to make the fertilizer. So because there's a shortage of natural gas, this means that there's less fertilizer production, and therefore there's less CO2. And because there's less CO2, they don't have as much CO2 for stunning animals, for putting inside food packets, and for putting the bubbles into drinks. And therefore, as a result of these things, we have got less production of these three things. There's one other problem, which is about the labour. So this is the labour to slaughter animals. And in the UK at the moment, partly perhaps because some workers have gone back to their country of origin within the EU since Brexit, the labour to slaughter animals has decreased. And therefore, less animals can be slaughtered. So all of these things mean we're going to have less animals being stunned, less animals slaughtered. They can't fill as many food packets and keep them fresh, and they can't make as many fizzy drinks. So all of these things are going to cause supply to go down. And if we wanted to show this on a diagram, like here, we know that if supply decreases, the supply curve shifts to the left. Left is less. So we do a parallel shift here. And we can see that when the supply decreases, this gives us a new equilibrium. So the price of the products increases to P1, and the quantity demanded of the products decreases to Q1. That's because people can't afford as much of the products. So the price increases, and the quantity demanded is now lower. And then, if you were looking at this in a question that wanted you to use evaluation, you could ask some questions in addition to this. So, for example, what is the price elasticity of demand for the product? So this could be for the turkey or the sausages or the beer. And if you drew this demand curve at a different angle, so for example, if it was more inelastic like this, rather than more elastic like this, you'll find that even though the price goes up, people carry on buying the product. So for instance, for Christmas, so the PED for the product, so for turkey, is it inelastic at Christmas? That would be a question to ask. If it is inelastic, even though the price goes up, people will carry on buying it because they feel they must have turkey on Christmas Day. So you need to ask, what is the PED for the product? You can also say, who is buying? So for example, if the price goes up, for people on low incomes, they may be less likely now to buy the product for Christmas, and they might substitute to something else. So they might buy something which they can make maybe with lentils or something that can be stored for a long time instead. And this will mean that they won't need the fresh meat which is being slaughtered, for example. So people on low incomes, and that might include students. It might also include pensioners. So those are three categories of people who might be more affected by this increase in the price of these products at Christmas. And we'll have to wait and see what happens, whether this continues up until Christmas or if something happens so that the supply chain works better and we don't have this decrease in supply and this increase in prices.